Okay, welcome everybody. It's Mari-Lyn Harris here of Hard at Work, and today I have my a great gal. We met at the World Kindness Launch about 2017, so it's 2 years. Tristaca and I actually shared a room together, so we got to know each other very intimately. So anyway, welcome Tristaca. Thank you for joining me today on the podcast series about creating a legacy and an impactful legacy. And I know that you're certainly creating one, a big one.
Thank you for having me on.
Hey, you're welcome. So tell me, not for me, because I already know, but maybe for the audience of how you got started doing what you're doing. I know they can go to the website, but tell us. And you're
Well, I'm Tristaca McCary. I am the CEO and founder of an organization called Nerds Rule Inc. Everyone's like, why did you choose the word nerds? So when I was growing up, I was always called a nerd because I love to read, I love science, and I love nature. And that wasn't typical for, a second grader. But unfortunately, that's what I liked. So, growing up around, different, areas of life, I just enjoyed science. And I said, I used to get bullied, and that word nerd stuck with me. And I said, when I grow up, I'm going to create something for nerds. And I decided to use Nerds Rule Inc. as a platform for not only just people who are nerdy, but people who are trying to find their identity.
Yeah, their way in the world.
Yes.
Yeah. I always thought that was your experience was, even what you have on your website is so true. People, when we're young, we may not know where we're going. Even when we get to our age, like where I am, sometimes I don't know where I'm going either, but they sometimes know where we're going.
Right.
Yeah. So what was your biggest challenge to get going? What was, or is now, or,
Oh my gosh. I think my challenge was getting the word out about my message. I started Nerds Rule Inc. in 2011, and I was just trucking along for about 4 years, and no one really paid attention to me in the community. So I just started volunteering and, volunteering at other organizations, started, getting mentors and teaching me, because it was a challenge the first few years of creating Nerds Rule Inc. So I think that was the biggest challenge, getting the word out about my message, what I wanted to accomplish, because no one knew who I was.
Right. Now they all come to you, right?
You know what? It's so funny. I still go to everybody else. I still partner up. I still get my hands dirty in the community. I still volunteer because I'm still not at the place where I want to be with my organization. So I'm still learning.
Yeah. Well, I think we're all learning, whatever we're doing, we're always learning, right? Yeah. So share with what are your biggest success stories so far that you think that you've?
Oh wow! I think my biggest ones. I think my projects that I've created with Nerds Rule Inc. I started out small because I was doing bullying prevention projects, and those were doing good. And then I started doing suicide prevention.
Right.
And those started doing really good with different organizations. I started doing, workshops in the community. And I think back in like 2013 was like my first workshop that it was, I think, 150 people. And everyone's like, where did this girl come from? Like, how come we didn't know she was around? And people just started asking me to come to their schools, their churches, and just being a part of their organization. So I think that was the biggest thing, my first workshop, and bullying prevention. And then I started working with domestic violence. Mm-hmm. So that was another thing that made me get more involved in the community. So I think just, you know, getting involved in the community. Mm-hmm. And back in 2016 in June, the community got to vote for me. There was an email that was sent out, an email blast back in 2016 from Michelle Obama. And it said, you know, vote for people in the community who's making a change in the community. And I was actually voted by the community to, being a world changer. Mm-hmm. And I had the opportunity to go to the White House and go to one of the conferences that they were having called the United States of Women back in 2016. So that was really big for me. And when I returned back in July, I got a proclamation from San Diego. So it's Tristaca McCary Day, which is July 16, 2016. So that was a big accomplishment for me, those two right there, the White House and the proclamation for Nerdrel Inc.
Yeah, wow. So what have you been doing up since then?
Wow. So since then, we have been creating projects in the community. Back in, wow. So after that, I got my award from the White House. I started meeting people from the United Nations. And it's been really great. 2017, my Nerdrel Inc. became incorporated in Uganda. So we have a lot of partners in Uganda that started a few of my projects. I'm a part of the World Kindness Movement. The World Kindness Movement has been, you know, very great for us. There's two World Kindness. So back in 2017, Nerdrel Inc. was the 7th U.S. organization to receive our membership in their 20-year history. And then came along the World Kindness USA, which I'm still pending on doing things with them. We haven't really organized anything with the World Kindness USA. But, you know, just getting our organization out. Nerdrel Inc. turned Nerdrel Inc. International in 2017 as well, because now we have a lot of international partners partnering up with us for my programs I created.
Right. Yeah. So I know one of your programs you created was the Ambassador Program. I think that's one of the times we said, hey, can we copy your program or get you to help us with your program? So tell us a little bit about your program, the Ambassador Program.
So the Ambassador Program, that was created out of just, I used to be an after school teacher. Mm-hmm. And so I was in my class and I was attending USD, University of San Diego, for a leadership fellows program. Mm-hmm. And they said that we had to create a community action project to graduate. So I was like, man, what can I do? So I'm in my class with my students and I'm like, let me start businesses with my students. And I have 4th and 5th graders. So I was like, okay, let's decorate the class as, you know, a business. And I was like, this is so cool. You know, my students were interacting with each other and they were being like bankers and doctors. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I think I can start a program. So I went back and I'm in my class and I'm talking to my professor and I was like, I think I know what I want to do before I graduate from the fellows program. And, my professors talked me through it, and I started the program back in 2017, and I think I had 2 ambassadors.
Okay.
And yeah, I was like, oh, this is horrible. I was like, oh my God, only 2 students signed up. So I had 2 ambassadors, and, towards the end of 2017, I think I had 9 ambassadors. So I was like, oh, you know what? This is not good. I'm going to have to go back and revamp this program because I'm like, oh, I thought it was going to be great. But no, I had 9 students and that's it. So by the end of 2017, I had 1 student left. And I was like, oh my God, I thought I failed, but I didn't. It was something about the project that wasn't complete. So 2018, I went back and I rewrote everything about the project. And by I think about June or July, I relaunched the project. And the first month, we had 5,000 students signed up for the project. And I was like, okay, this is better.
Well, we have to start somewhere, Trisha.
Right. I was like, oh my gosh, okay. And it's funny because these students are not here in the U.S. They're international. So, I was like, how come I'm not reaching my community? But 5,000 international students signed up, and today we're at, December 2019, and we have like 9,000 students in the ambassador program. Either they're going to start it or they're going to be facilitators of the program. So now we have 9,000 because we have 12 international partners who have signed up for the project, and we'll be launching next year in February or March.
Okay. So what are these kids or people going to be doing? Are they teaching the program, or are they?
So we have facilitators, and we also have students who are actually going to be, the Tribe Ambassador Project is a year project. Okay. So, these students are actually learning, self-worth. They're learning about their community. They're learning about how to be a leader, how to interact in their community, because they're learning everything that I learned as a community leader at a young age. So it starts from 10 to 25. So you have these 10-year-olds learning about self-worth, which is really good. So that's why a lot of parents have signed their children up for these programs, because they're learning how to love themselves. Right. So that's one of the things that I didn't have in the beginning of the Ambassador Project. I didn't have, the self-worth and the love in the project, because being a leader, you have to constantly love yourself while you're in the community, because it's hard at times.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because if you don't love yourself or think you're worthy, then it's pretty hard to share.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. So that was one thing that was missing in the Ambassador Project, was self-worth. A lot of my students and people who were signed up would drop it because they thought it was hard. They were being criticized about their ideas. So I had to put that in the program. Like, no, you have to be confident, So I didn't have that, but placing those elements and those seeds and planting them in these students and these young adults, they love working in their community.
Right. So do you know what projects they're going to be doing, or is this just the same?
Yes. So all the students can do bullying prevention, human trafficking, domestic violence, gun control. There's also students that are doing projects for HIV and AIDS. A lot of them are also doing projects for SelfWorth as well. Right. So some of these students are learning how to teach someone else how to fall in love with themselves.
Right.
We're also talking about doing something for eating disorders as well. So, you know, and they can pick what they want. Some students want to create farms for their community. Right. So they can pick what they want at the year of the training, but it's a year training to just, you know, dig in to why you want to be a community leader.
Right, right. Wow, they got a lot of growth and learning to do, I'm sure.
Right. And a lot of people be like, oh my gosh, I can do this overnight. I really think a whole year of digging deep of why you should become a community leader is perfect, because 6 months of training is not good. A whole year of learning and branching out and launching a project is perfect. A whole 12 months is a perfect timing.
Yeah. So what happens at the end of the year?
So at the end of the year, that's when they launch their project.
Okay.
So during that time, they're learning how to look for grants to fund their project. They are getting out in the community, telling their project, you know, getting community partners. So that's another thing that they're taught in the curriculum is how to get a community partner so they won't do it on their own. So they learn everything that I've learned in these past 8 years. So right. I just in October, Nerdrel Inc. celebrated 8 years. So I put 8 years into 1 year with a project.
Right. Yeah. We're learning and growing and doing our own thing. We stumble. And we have
right.
successes, right? You know? So, yeah, so it's a lot of stuff to cram into a 1 year. But I guess, you know, when you're younger, you probably have more energy. And I understand that the parents who sign up their kids have to sign off some paperwork or something to say that their child is in the program. And so who mentors or watches, who makes them accountable, the kids?
So we have mentors.
Okay.
So we have mentors and we have the facilitators. So you always have to check in with your facilitator. You always have to check in with your mentor. And, you know, they will let you know, hey, what do you need help with? What can we do to make things better? And that's what we didn't have in the beginning of the project. That's why I was losing so many students, because we didn't have mentors. We didn't have facilitators. It was just me. Yeah. So all of the parents would always be like, oh, we need you know, we need you to do this. And, you know, my child just wants to be with you. And I'm like, wait a minute. This is not going to work. This is not going to work. And I had a few parents that, you know, dropped their kids or took their kids out of the program because they only wanted me as their mentor. And unfortunately, I couldn't do that. I couldn't spread myself like that.
Yeah.
So that's why we have facilitators, other people who know more than me. Yeah. So that's what some of the parents didn't understand. It's like, you know, I'm just the messenger. Right. And we have more people that can pour into your children. And unfortunately, some parents didn't want that. And, you know, they just took their children out of the program, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. But you have other people that stayed in the program and the parents.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we have some wonderful ambassadors. Like the new ambassadors that we have signed up for next year. Yeah. I'm really impressed with them. And, you know, our international ambassadors as well. I teach a class every other Saturday to my international partners, and they make it on time. They log in and they're ready with their notes. They have questions, and it's been a blessing.
Sounds like you're doing some really leaps and bounds, and I'm so proud of you and your program. I think that's so important.
Thank you.
Youth,
Thank you.
because you always hear about the kids and they're not doing anything, and then the other kids they actively participating, right? And then they show off the adults, and the adults say, "Oh, look at those kids." They almost make fun of them rather than just saying cheering them on, kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, what kind of tips or suggestions you can give that people, if they're interested in your program or they want to do something with it? How about you?
I would say that they could go to our website or email me, and they can bring me in as a facilitator to teach their organization or their school. That's one of the things that we want to do next year, is probably do a school tour.
Okay.
So we've really been thinking about it. I have a wonderful partner who does workshops as well in Los Angeles, and we are going to talk more on if we want to do a school tour next year, because we have books that are going to be coming out next year, or they're already published, and just about self-worth, about yoga, about meditation, about prayer. A lot of students don't know how to express themselves. So, mental health is on the rise with young teens, young adults. So we want to create safe spaces in schools and homes next year.
Okay. Another big project.
Yes, that's something I've been a mental health advocate for the past 5 years, and I'm starting to build a team of individuals who have the same heartbeat as me, and we are focusing and not trying, but we are focusing on putting great workshops for safe places for individuals to feel comfortable about what they're going through. So that's something that we've been working on since I think October of last year. And it takes a while. A lot of people are like, "Oh my God, we need these workshops," but mental health is a very sensitive topic in homes.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of touchy-feely, interrogation, like, who are you? Are you really? You seem to think that you have to, after all the credentials, just to help somebody improve their well-being, which is not really true. But yeah, even as working with adults, I've had one of the gals, she was kind of my mentor when I first got started doing the kindness thing, and she said, "Well, I hope you got your credentials." And I said, "For what?" To encourage people or to coach people. So, they may be important, but I think if you have the results and you're showing, like, you have your program, I don't see why you have to have a degree and everything to get you there. So,
Yeah. That's why I have
experiences are actually just as good, if not better than 10 degrees, right?
But you'll be surprised about all of the doctors who have the experience as well, but don't know how to facilitate a workshop. So that has been the great thing of finding doctors who can partner with me, and we learn from each other. And it has been great. I love all of our therapists that we have on our team now. That's another thing I didn't have with Nerdral Inc., but I have been blessed to find some amazing therapists to join Nerdral Inc. for next year, and that is a very good boost for us. We have some doctors, we have some scientists on our team now, so it has been a blessing to actually get out there and, speak to people about what I want to do. And like I said, I've been a nerd forever, but when you can work with other nerds, it's a blessing. It's so you just smile all the time when you see each other because you know that you're creating something that's going to change a life.
Right. Of course. It's your nerds are your tribe.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, this has been a great conversation with you, Tristaca, and time to wrap up the call. But I do want to suggest if anybody wants to reach out to her, you can find her on podcast.heartatworkonline.org, and of course you'll find her and be able to hear her on Anchor as well. And so yeah, she'll be everywhere pretty soon. And we really want to support her. I really want to support her getting everywhere. So we will definitely promote you and get you out there, that's for sure. So I wanted to thank you for joining me on the call tonight. I know it's kind of, a late evening call, but that's okay.
It was an amazing call. I'm so excited and very humbled to speak to anyone about, creating change. So thank you so much for having me on the show.
Hey, you're welcome. And we'll do it a follow-up too, because there's a couple of people I've had some great conversations with. So I just said, okay, well, we'll do another call and do another check-in and see where you are at and how you're doing. So I think that's really important. Okay, thank you everybody for joining me today and or this evening, I guess it is. And always be kind, and we'll be chatting with you again soon. Thank you for joining me. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.